What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Champion Living Podcast, where we believe that consistency, perseverance, and not taking life too seriously are the keys to success. I'm Doug, the founder and owner and head coach of Champion Living Fitness. Each week, I'll be joined by my coaching staff with the vision of providing trustworthy information about fitness, nutrition, and mindset, and how this all applies to being a professional rodeo athlete, as well as people from all walks of life. Are you ready to become a champion? Let's go.
That bull that jumped out at Sisters was an alien.
Yeah, well,
That thing was an alien.
Trained specifically by the White House to do that thing, to get rid of rodeo.
gosh, I saw
Show me a
CBS
mo.
shared
Show me
it
a mo.
earlier, and then
Of
I was
course
like,
they
oh
did.
boy, here we go. So I had to go through the comments, and I knew what they were all going to say before they even opened it.
Oh, yeah.
And man, the misinformation that is out there about animal treatment is just
Wild.
insane.
And
Like,
we think it's getting better, but it's really not.
I don't
Like,
think it
it's-
is. Yeah.
No. Here's the thing, and this is something I've realized recently. Hunting is under the same
Mhm.
magnification, right? They are trying to take hunting away, and they've been doing this forever. They've been doing this with rodeo forever. And the one thing that I've seen among hunters, rodeo, or people that, cowboys, whatever, and the anti groups, whatever they are anti, those people that are anti something are very good at coming together regardless of where they're like coming from, essentially.
Yeah.
So whether
Yeah.
they're fighting for horse rights or bulls, cattle's rights or sheep or whatever, they don't care. Not one of them is better than the other or more important than the other. They just come together and try and end it all. In hunting and in rodeo, I see a lot of things like people don't give a shit unless it's their realm. So unless it's rodeo, or say it's like, this wouldn't happen, but cutting horses or something like that. Hunting is the same way, like rifle hunting, archery, muzzler, like they're all different and they're all so ego driven that they can't just come together and make it. If everyone did that, if we all came together as a group of hunters or Western lifestyle, we would crush, absolutely annihilate the opposition.
I think Oprah said a while ago, believe it or not, that it
Fuck
sounds even
Oprah,
crazy
yeah.
saying that, but Oprah said something along the lines of like, the anti-movements never work because they always bring attention to the thing that you're trying to get rid of. So like anti-war never works because it just brings our focus to war.
Mhm.
Pro-peace would get the desired outcome. Like
Yes.
if everybody was focused on pro-peace, like we would be thinking about peace and how can we take care of each other and how do we do that. We're not focusing our attention on war. We're focusing on our attention on how can we serve others. And so it's the same thing. It's like we can't combat animal cruelty by like hating the PETA people, maybe necessarily, but like we have to like lovingly put out the effort to do education, like pro education. Same thing with hunting. Like that's exactly what your example reminded me of, was like if everybody would come together on a positive driven mission, the focus would be positive and it wouldn't be negative.
It's something about like mob psychology, right?
Mhm.
Like
Mob
the
mentality, yeah.
victim mentality when you get a group of people together and they just naturally are going to attack whatever it is. Anyway, I think it's just that like mob
Suffering bonds
mentality.
people.
Yeah.
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 Like it
Absolutely.
really
That's
does,
exactly
like
right.
for real. And then so like when you even if
Even if
haven't
they're not
imagined-
suffering, but
yeah,
they,
even
but
if it's
whatever
imagined
they,
suffering,
yes,
bond over
that's
it.
exactly it.
But even talking about like the sisters thing being on CBS, right? This one thing that happens once in a 1,000 rodeos, if that. Like this is not a normal occurrence. Gets put out in the national spotlight. Nothing in rodeo ever gets put out in the national spotlight unless it's something like that, right?
Yeah.
Why didn't
That's
the
how it always blows
PRCA
up.
back that up with the? I would have been reaching out to CBS wanting to be on air. Like the president of the PRCA should be on the air saying,
claim it.
hey, yeah, this happened. We are in the sport of rodeo. There are unknowns. There are uncontrollables and things can happen. There are things that as a fan, you can be aware of when you showed up to a rodeo. Head on a swivel, like be alert. Even if it's like, I think that's everyday life. Like you should be alert of your surroundings. But if you are going to rodeo and you aren't around animals all the time, there should be like a little list of things like, hey, be aware. There's live animals in the arena and they can get out. You know, I don't
And
know.
listening to
There
facts,
could have been different damage control, I feel like.
How many rodeos, guessed within our knowledge, it's been 953 rodeos since the last time a bull got out at a PRCA sanctioned event or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that there's
Yeah.
probably no way to, but like, put some numbers out there so that people understand, they see it in context. This is not something that happens at every single rodeo. In fact, it very rarely happens, especially at an elite level, like a PRCA rodeo or a PBR event or something of that nature. Like guys that open rodeos leave
Dude.
gates open all the time.
So if you,
Yeah.
and I think this probably, I don't know if this is right, but like if it was 953 rodeos, right, before the last bull got out, that's a 0.001% chance that something like that is going to happen. So it's saying, yeah, you have those numbers and you put that out there. That's statistics. That's actual facts. Hey guys, you get to see this bull get out on the news, and you immediately think that's going to happen at every rodeo. That is not what happens. It happens 0.0001% of the time. Same as the freaking, I don't know, like a plane crash, a big airliner.
Yeah.
Those
Or
it's
like
the same odds.
well, think of like other spectator events like NASCAR races or demolition derbies. Like you don't hang out on the panels at those events because you expect if something does go wrong, like those safety features aren't foolproof. Like they might catch some debris, but if an entire car comes flying over the fence, like
and even if that happens, it won't be a thing unless the media decides it's a thing. And that's what I was like, I don't want to get too philosophical here, but it's like the media is like this black hole and we're just orbiting it, right? And so many like catastrophes happen that are just orbiting, but whatever happens that seems to be in the proximity of the black hole, it just gets sucked through. And it's like, oh, here we go. Like there's nothing we can do to stop this because we're getting taken for a ride.
Anything that brings negative attention, pulls at negative emotions, gets you angry, gets people pissed off, they are going to throw it out there, and they do it all the time. Just like the last month, you've seen all this stuff about World War III is happening. Oh, no, it's not. Oh, yes, it is. No, it's not. Yes, it is. It's all bullshit, dude. They're all just trying to get everybody pissed off enough with each other that it causes mayhem within the country during this really pivotal time for us. Told you you're going to get your tin hats on today. You better get ready. Here we go.
I don't watch the news very much, and
I don't either for that reason though.
Of where I'm like blissfully ignorant, right? There's probably some helpful education that could come from paying a little bit more attention, but like, man, we just do our life. Like we're ball games and junior rodeos and training athletes, and it's like I just don't get into I don't buy into the like all the the headlines of crazy things that are happening. In fact, there's a lot of times I get on social media and I'm like, I don't know what people are talking about right now. I have no idea. I have to do a little bit of digging to try to figure out what they're referencing because I just don't pay attention. So
I like to stay up on current events. But with that same thing, I take it all with a very, very small grain of salt. Like I'm almost like the opposite. I don't believe anything that's out there. I watch them just to see how I can disprove what they're saying.
And depending on like where you're listening to and stuff, like everything's provided through a filter. Like even this podcast, you're listening to our biases of specific topics. Like everything's through a filter, and so when I did try to get more into the news, I subscribed to the Wall Street Journal and had it delivered because then it like I don't know, what other people's opinions are and like how biased it is in one way or another. But in my opinion, it at least looked at things through the lens of like, okay, this is what happened and this is how it may or may not affect the economy.
Yeah.
So not necessarily
all I can think of right now.
There's no agenda driven, I guess.
Yeah.
Paul with a nice big, my name's Paul. I have a nice big glass of brandy. I have a cigar and I read my Wall Street Journal every evening. And
that's how I taught Cannon how to read. Cannon started reading the Wall Street Journal when he was like 1 year old.
I love it. No, it's good. It is good to be up on current events and just know it, but also don't get sucked into the believing and letting him win by pulling at you. That's the thing. You get these people that watch Fox or CNN or whatever, and you can tell they've watched that shit all day, every day, because that's all they can talk about, and they're so worried about these
just
things.
Regurgitating what they see.
Exactly.
Yeah, and they just regurgitate. Their argument is literally just somebody else's opinion that they're regurgitating. There's been no real thought, and that goes for both sides. I don't care if you're like far right or far left or where you stand. But a lot of times we're just regurgitating what we saw, somebody else say or whatever, instead of actually having some real thought behind it. That's difficult. To actually put some thought into something is difficult, but I can just agree with somebody else, and without a whole lot of research and
Yeah.
regurgitate.
Oh,
Hey, I
yeah,
don't want to take.
that
I
happens.
don't. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say that happens within our industry too. Like
Oh, all
social
the
media is a
time.
blessing and a curse because there's so much good information out there, but there's so much that is just like
Dude.
That's what I was gonna say.
insane.
That's what I was gonna say is I get so in this like rodeo realm, and I look at the hill that we're climbing in professional rodeo and all the mountains that we have to get over and the culture we have to change, and I kind of forget about just Gen Pop. And until I go to the gym, and then I overhear conversations with really big guys that are trying to give smaller guys advice, or I just hear conversations, and I'm like, oh no. Oh
Oh
no.
no.
Okay. Oh, we actually there's a lot of work left to be done,
Yeah.
even just Gen Pop, right? It's not just that
Dude.
rodeo's lagging behind really
Everywhere.
because of social media. Yeah, because of social media and the fact that misinformation can be spread all over. And if you look at a guy and he's huge, you have no idea what his diet looks like, what his supplements look like, what
What does
drugs he
steroids look
may or
like?
may not be
Yeah.
Mhm.
on, and but yet like doing chest flies to exhaustion 3 times a week or how you're going to get a big chest. Like, okay,
You
all right.
might.
So anyway, I just well,
Like,
yeah. I
you
mean, it's
might,
one.
but it's not the
Well,
ideal way to do anything. Like,
exactly, especially for some young guys that are coming up. They're like looking to those guys. Anyway, there's just um, a ton of misinformation out there, and I definitely forget that. I think that because we all have a relatively open-minded understanding of fitness and well-being and health, that like everybody shares that outside of the rodeo world that are in the gym. If you're in good shape, you probably think about fitness the way we do. That ain't true.
No.
Like you go
no.
to the gym, I go to the gym and I'm like terrified sometimes at what I see. But on the other hand, when I do see some high school kids that are in and they're lifting and they're like, deadlifting or bench pressing and their form looks fantastic, I always tell them, hey, I will give them a fist bump. Hey, your form is fantastic. You're doing a great job. Like, how old are you? I'm 16. I'm like, man, I wish I was doing the things that you were doing when I was 16 and doing it the way that you're doing it. Like, keep it up, Anyway, and so it's encouraging to see that there are a lot of these, young guys coming up that are lifting well and not buying into the BS. So just
Yeah.
hope.
There's
Just
lots of
hoping.
hope, man. And anything like this takes so much change, and there's going to be lots of pushback, especially right as you get to that corner of just we're about to have that change really happen in a big way. There's going to be even more pressure on the backside of that. And then we'll keep pushing through, and it'll be the new culture. And like you said, we're seeing that with a lot of young guys in different sports and different everything. And that's
Yep.
because they're realizing at a younger age, especially if they're playing football, baseball, basketball, any other regular sport, they're going to have to put in a F load of work, a lot of
Yep.
work.
Yep.
And man, I've been thinking about
Did
this
you
all
just say
morning.
F word?
F load, F load.
F
I'm holding
load.
myself
You
back.
just said F
My
load?
so my goddaughters listen to this, and I got a call from their mother the other day. Talon
That
and
is
Addie, you need to not repeat what Dougie says all the time, and I apologize.
hey, I dig it. I've had a couple friends or whatever. They've got 8, 9-year-old kids that are in rodeo, and they're like, "Man, we love listening to your podcast, but we just have to be really careful." And I was like, "Yeah,
You know,
yeah, that's no, F
it's
load. I
just
can get behind
is
that.
what it is.
I get down with
But
that."
also, when I
Anyway,
have a
sorry,
kid,
went down a
they
rabbit
gonna realize that dad says the F word, and you can't say that because that's an adult word.
hole.
And if you're
Yeah,
gonna
they're
use that word, I'm gonna get that ass. So don't
yeah.
say it. Uh, but
Anyway,
sorry, back
sorry.
on track. I've been thinking about this all morning, and it kind of ties into what were we just talking about? I don't even remember. Anyways, it ties into what we were just talking about. And I had some conversations. I might have talked about this earlier, a couple episodes ago, but I was talking with some of my guys that I trained at a rodeo a couple weeks ago that have been with me for years. And they're not on the backside of their career, but they're getting towards the other half of this thing, right? And I was talking to a couple young guy was standing there, we're talking, and he's kind of like, I think I'm just gonna work out when I have to. When my body says, you're good, like or you're so sore that you have to start working out. And two of my guys literally snap around at him and are like, dude, do not do that. If there's anything we could do differently, it's that we both thought the same thing. And there's one thing we could change is be going back and doing this stuff over and over and over for the entirety of my career. And
Mm.
Mhm.
he still wasn't bought in. He's like, "Nah, I'm doing good. Like it's going good." And it's been in my head since then that there are so many people out there that are in love with the fact or the thought of being a world champ or making the NFR or whatever, that they're okay just getting there. And
Mm.
the fact is that okay with just doing what you're doing to just make it is going to be the one thing that holds you back from making it. You'll be right on the bubble every time, but you probably won't make it through. And if you do, you won't make it back because you don't want it that
Yeah.
bad. And that's what this morning. I'm just thinking about this and I'm like, we talk to so many people on a daily basis about training, about their goals, whether it's rodeo, life, whatever. 90% of them just don't want it that bad. And that's a hard
No.
thing to say to yourself. And so this morning, I'm changing irrigation pipe. I'm freaking getting doused in water at 7 a.m. that's ice cold. And I'm like, this is dumb, you know? But I like having the hay at the end of the process. I like being able to sell that and use my land for something, right? It's like, I do want that to happen. I do want to see that through the end. And so I keep doing it,
Yeah.
right? I don't want to do it every time, but I keep doing it. And that's a really simple example. But rodeo, or business, you might want to be a millionaire, you want to be a world champ. You got to look in the mirror, and we got to figure out where you are right now and where are you really selling yourself short. And that's a hard conversation to have, and that's what a lot of these young guys and girls are. They're afraid to have that conversation because it is tough and it is a little bit scary and kind of shows your weaknesses. But at the same time, it's the one thing that is so necessary to move forward in anything that we're doing. You have to be able to look at yourself and say, where am I? What am I not doing?
Yeah.
And how can I improve this? And the getting stuck in that thought process of I'm good, like we're doing pretty good, it won't last. You will start going downhill and you'll be stuck because you won't know where to look. So you've got to start
Mhm.
breaking it down.
Well, there's been so many guys before though, right? That have made it. I mean, they've won world titles and didn't train. There's been so many guys that have. I mean, I name drop him all the time, and he's probably going to at me one day. But JB Mooney. I mean, we look at we look at JB who like didn't really. No, he worked his tail off. Don't mistake it when I say that he didn't
Mhm.
train. That doesn't mean that he didn't earn everything he got. He earned every single bit of it. He trained his guts out. He got on more bulls than anybody else. I respect the heck out of him. But he didn't work out, right? And so, or very consistently anyway, or probably in a
Well,
way in which
just
we
not
would say
methodically,
that,
right? It didn't
yeah,
seem like
not
there was a
and
plan.
and so then people are like, well, I don't necessarily have to, and there's been guys in bareback riding events over the years that have done the same thing. There's guys that go to the finals every year that don't methodically strategically work out. They might do a little bit of training leading up to the NFR. They throw some stuff together based on experience they had in high school, and that's it. And they seem to succeed. And I would say to those people, they're successful in spite of their training or lack of it, but not because of it. And my mind always goes to, but what if, like,
Mhm.
and that's the thing that I tell a lot of these young guys when I go talk. If we could, if and this is an if, right, it's not a guarantee, but if trainings from the time you're 16 would extend your career by 5 years, and you could have a mediocre year as an elite bareback rider and win $200,000 a year. If we could extend your career by 5 years because you've been taking care of your body,
Mm-hmm.
that's an extra million in career earnings because you
Just in
started
earnings
early,
by
as
for
opposed to
rodeo.
being
Yeah.
done. Yeah, as opposed to
Not
being
counting
done at
sponsors or anything.
32. No, not talking about the sponsorships, not talking about any of that. As
So it
opposed to
could be a
being
lot
done at
more.
32
Yeah.
because your body can't handle it. Well, man, if you got on the front end and were proactive, I mean, yeah, not to mention six-figure sponsorships and any of the things that you have going on there. I mean, we're talking about like millions of dollars that guys are leaving on the table because they look at who's already gone before them and they don't see those guys doing it. And I'm like, you're marching up the wrong hill. The view's not very good from up there.
Yeah.
If you would
Yeah.
just look over here and get up that mountain,
Mm-hmm.
man, you'd see for miles over there, but
Mm-hmm.
everybody's they're following one another like ants up the wrong hill,
Mm-hmm.
instead of like, hey, let's change our focus. And now, with that being said, we do have a lot of young guys that I'm very, very hopeful for. And the
Oh
culture
yeah.
is changing. And there is definitely some guys that are they've they're they've shifted their focus and they're climbing that big mountain. And I believe that when they get to the top, they're going to be able to stay up there for a lot longer than the guys that are just following suit the people before them.
Yeah. And you see that those the younger guys that we're talking about are setting their foundation up correctly. They're taking the extra time and not getting caught up in the sexiness of going to these huge rodeos and just entering and thinking like, oh, I'm in, that's cool, like I made it. That's not it. We have a bunch of young guys that have come to OPA, and Mike Berger's a really good example. That dude has taken everything he learned from that school and applied it, and not just a little bit. Like freaking, I will have him to the school to teach that he's applied it so well.
Yeah,
the dude came to the school with nothing. Had a saddle, had his bronc rein in his truck, and that was it. 6 months after the school, the guy has a Sprinter van, has more company decals on that thing than I can count, and has a legitimate fan base at every little rodeo he's showing up to. And he's posting it, shares it all on social media, and does it perfectly. Shares his whole adventure, gives props to his sponsors. Dude, the guy is doing it well. So any of you guys watching or listening, go look at Mike Berger on Instagram. Follow him if you are someone that is wanting to see what a young athlete has done to make himself successful, and not only just the arena, but way beyond. Go look at his stuff and go look at, go through his stuff, see where it started, see what his first post looked like from,
go back 1 year ago and look at the difference.
Literally, it was a year ago, almost to the day.
Yep.
So go check that out. Go check him out. Big shout out to you, buddy. Like, you are killing it. I love seeing everything on Instagram and Facebook that you're posting and entering correctly, like going to all the right rodeos, winning money at every rodeo. It's cool. It's really cool. Did you see
I think
Jason? Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, I think like last year you were talking about like entering correctly. Like that's kind of what's one of the, I mean, the sponsor thing and like all the business deals that he's creating now, like it's really impressive, especially for a kid at his age. But like if you watch him enter too, like he's doing it so right. Like he dominated at the amateur associations last year. Like, I mean, absolutely cleaned house at like 3 different ones. And then he started branching out. Now he's going to circuit rodeos. He's still going to some amateur rodeos, but like his goal is like, now the circuit. And so like he's branching out. He's kicking ass at the next level now. And it's not, if he would have started, just entering pro rodeos last year, this time right after OPA, it probably wouldn't have gone very well for him. But like he set the foundation, and now he's like kind of broadening his circle, and he's branching out a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And he's got a plan for everything. And man, it is paying off for him.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch.
It is. And it just brings to light all these guys out there that think you have to have been to the NFR or accomplish all these things to get a sponsor. You don't. And he's a great example of that. But what Mike does is he brings value to every one of those companies, and he has a game plan for how he's going to bring that value to them. He didn't just show up and say, hey, sponsor me, or send him a DM that says, hey, I'm a bronc rider, will you sponsor me? Absolutely not. He has a media packet for himself. He has demographics of the rodeo's going to, how many people are going to be there, whatever it is. You have to bring value and show how you're going to help those sponsors out. And that's a great lesson to learn for any young athlete. I get messages all the time asking if I'll sponsor kids from them. I'm like, for why? For what? No, absolutely not. No.
Yeah. There's literally dancers in the Western industry that get huge deals with Western apparel companies, but and people want to be like, I've seen some posts where there's rodeo cowboys that are like, oh, they're posers and they're this and they're that. I'm like, they earned it. What do they have that you don't have? It's a social media following. Listen to me, you don't have to be an NFR qualifier or world champion to get a sponsor. In fact, what you have to have is you have to have a social media presence. You have to have followers. You have to have people that are going to be seeing your things, because that's what people are paying for. And guess what? Like it or not, those dudes in Ariat clothes that are dancing around and acting like fools on TikTok are getting hundreds of thousands of views. And it's putting Western apparel companies in the homes of people that probably wouldn't go to a rodeo, right? And now they're able to see it. Well, that's available for you as a circuit cowboy, as an amateur cowboy too. But what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to work for it. They're not just going to give you money because you're Joe Blow that gets on bulls. They're going to give you money because you've spent the last year building a social media presence, taking people with you, while you're honing your craft, while you're getting better at your sport. You're also building the social media presence, and you're getting to be somebody that people like to see. And then sponsors are going to be like, oh, wait a minute. Well, we want to partner with this guy. I mean, we want to be well, I wonder if we could go along with that. And so it's available to you, but you're gonna have to put the work in, and
And
you're
it
gonna
takes
have to be
time.
consistent. It takes time, man. It takes time, and you have to be consistent posting. You probably need to ask me for some videos that seem to work really well for Paul.
Yeah.
You just gotta build that. You just gotta build that
Bro,
presence
I
and
got
just.
to give you props though. Yesterday's was great. I thoroughly enjoyed that post. That was so damn
Oh,
funny.
thank you.
So
It's
damn
it's
funny. No
back
one
to.
else
I'm
thought
just back
so,
to
but
making. No. It's got 60 likes, probably 700 views.
you need to
I'm
give
back
that
to
to
just make.
like that's Rodeo or something and let them
Yeah,
share it
yeah. Give
because that would go
send
off.
them some. Yeah, they. I've got a few. I follow this guy who's like, he's like the anti strength coach. He is a strength coach, but he like makes fun of all of the like 22-year-olds that graduate with their CSCS, and it's like,
Oh
oh yeah,
yeah.
you got your CSCS, you know what you're doing, and he really hammers on the knees over toes guys, and dude, his stuff, it is nothing but memes. It's so funny. And he posted this meme too. Anyway, you'll just have to see it. You need to follow him. Austin Jokum, I think is how you say his last name, but he's freaking hilarious. And he posts nothing but training memes, and almost exclusively nothing. And what I love about him is that he has so much content. He will post like 8 or 9 memes at a time. He'll just put a bunch of stuff
Just
out. There's
dump
some
them. Yeah.
talking videos. He just dumps them. I'm like, there's no way I could do that. That's a week's worth of content for me. You know how many hours I spent to build 8 or 9 memes? Like, there's no way I could just dump 9 of them at a time. But he just throws them out there, and he's really, really funny. He just one of them the other day, and one of the slides was like, a strength coach wondering why nobody listens to him, and he doesn't post any memes. And it was like a scene from Napoleon Dynamite or something. Anyway, it's one of those things you had to see, but it was pretty funny. And so I'm like, you know what, I'm back to making content that I want to make. I'm gonna throw it out there and see what sticks. I got some static posts that are meme-ish, but they're all revolve around the same thing. I didn't get too creative, as far as it's all about rodeo athletes not wanting to train in season. So I kind of got to spread it out, or else people are going to, okay, we get it, we understand, you think it's funny that
Unfollow.
rodeo. Yeah, unfollow.
Yeah.
That's exactly
This
right.
guy's a
So
jerk.
What
this
a
guy's
dick.
this guy's
He's
yeah.
calling me out.
So anyway, I
Truth
got kind of
hurts.
got to.
Hui has the best gear because it's tough. It's durable. It withstands the test of what we put it through. And that is why I am a big supporter of Hui brands. Guys, from hats, apparel, whatever you need, they've got you covered. They are the perfect blend of rodeo style and athletic performance. You can check them out at huibrands.com. Use our discount code ChampionLiving, all one word, is going to save you a little bit at checkout. Here's the deal. Lots of rodeo gear companies are coming out, but not all are equal. Beastmaster is really setting the bar when it comes to the equipment that is built for durability and designed for success in the arena. You guys can check them out at beastmasterrodeo.com. Use our discount code ChampionLiving24. That's ChampionLiving24. Going to save you a little bit at checkout.
Space it out. Yeah, the truth
Life's
is,
tough.
hey,
Get
I
a
don't want
helmet.
to, I don't want to take too hard of a left, but I have to take this opportunity, seeing as how we're kind of just chit chatting. I got to brag on my kids, like, for a second. We had a junior rodeo last weekend, and Cannon has been like not wanting to ride sheep and then wanting to ride sheep. Same thing that happened last month at the junior rodeo. Saturday, not entered. Sunday, wants to enter. I'm like, whatever, I don't care. So Sunday, I told him, they know the only requirement is you have to try hard. Dude, he gets on the sheep. It turns back, and he's laying down on sheep now and holding on. It literally just rams his head into the fence. Like, I mean, just like a battering ram, just right into the fence, whirls off and runs him down the panels. Tick, tick, tick,
Oh.
tick, tick, pop,
Oh,
pop, pop, pop,
jeez.
pop. Didn't let go. And then finally the sheep like gets away from the fence, and I was like, all right, you can let go now. And he lets go, busted his thumb on it. And I mean, that might be the end of our mutton busting career, but that was like the most proud I think I've ever been. And it wasn't because he won, but it was just because like he didn't
Gritted it
quit.
out.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like he
Mhm.
gritted it out. He didn't let go. He didn't try to get off, which is a good thing because like he would have gotten killed off if he'd have let go while he was going down the fence. You know, it for sure would have been much worse. But and then he slick horns. Not too bad for a bareback rider's kid. He slick horns the dummy 3 times, wins the dummy roping, and then little Cal at 3 years old just accidentally wins the
I love
ribbon,
it.
the goat tail ribbon untying. Like I think it was because he moved so slow that he didn't scare the goat. So he's just
Just
like
snuck up on it.
he just snuck up
Yeah.
down there and ripped it off. And there's like a bunch of like bigger kids in that group too. I think there's
Dude,
12 or
that's
15 kids
hilarious.
in the class, and little Callan. And so I go over to Callan afterwards. This is how much he doesn't care. I go over to Callan afterwards. I was like, dude, congratulations. You just won. You went faster than all the other kids. And he just looks at me and it's like dead silence. And he's like, can I have an ice cream? I was like, sure, you can have an ice cream. Like he just does
He
not
doesn't
care
care.
at all. And
I could
you should
totally
have
see
seen
that.
Cannon's face. He went like 3 ahead of Callan, and he's like, I'm winning this today. He's like, I'm gonna win all 3 events. I was like, all right, dude, let me show me how fast you can go. And he's like, he's in his stance. You know, like at the starting line, he's like already got the arm. It's the funniest thing because he does it on base too now. He's like waiting on somebody to hit. He's like in this running stance. Anyway, it's pretty comical. But he's like, takes off. And of course, he like the goat kind of moves. He has to go. He did it in like 6.5 seconds. And then here comes Callan bebopping down, just pretending to be a Tyrannosaurus and like 5.1 seconds and smokes it. Cannon's face, bro. He was standing there and he's just playing with his ribbon. He's just looking at the ground, just playing with the ribbon. He just pulled off. Like you could just tell he was livid. So it was kind of comical. But the Corbett boys, they kicked some butt. I had a big junior rodeo weekend. Anyway,
That's funny.
I was yeah, I don't know that Callan really cares. I know that he does not care, but it was a good weekend, and I'm proud
Oh,
of them
that's
for
awesome.
trying so hard. And
I
so,
love how different they are.
oh man,
It cracks
night
me
and
up.
day. Have you guys had a junior rodeo last month, Paul?
Mm,
I
yeah,
wanted to say I
we
saw
had
a video.
one. Yeah,
Had
because
one.
Charlie wanted to try the mutton busting
Oh yeah.
And then did
And-
not want to try it.
and then did not want to. It was just like at your house when we did it last year. Like she's all about it, and then as soon as she touches the sheep,
Nope.
she was like,
Mm.
"Nope,
Yep.
no." But
Yep.
at that rodeo, we did have another funny encounter that I did want to bring up based off our earlier conversation. Cannon was playing with one of his friends, and the grandma of the other friend offered him a popsicle, and he said, I don't think I can have that. I haven't had my protein yet." And I wasn't there, so like she's telling me this as I come back up to see him. She goes, "Yeah, I offered him a popsicle, but he said he hadn't had protein yet." And I'm like, I just smiled because like she didn't understand the connection. And so um afterwards, or this, this is a couple months later, this is a few weeks ago now, Cannon said, like, if I'm gonna get big strong muscles, I gotta work out, I gotta eat my protein, and I gotta sleep good at night. And I'm like, dude, you know more than like 90% of the population
Yeah.
about how to live a healthy lifestyle. And like, so it's funny because like I have hope for the future of rodeo athletes. I think
Yep.
that, like you said, the culture is shifting. Obviously, my kid grows up in a house where like that's primarily what we talk about. So he's a bit of an anomaly compared to the rest of the population. Um, but yeah, I think if we can get that mindset into those younger kids a lot sooner,
We're
like,
either setting them up really well, or we're giving them issues. I haven't
yeah,
decided
it
what. And in 30 years, we will
could result
probably
in
know.
major psychological issues. No.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
stand
Yeah.
by.
I
We'll
mean,
check in.
but that's why I had so many kids. I knew that I wasn't going to be good at this parenting
Yeah.
thing. So I was like, just the law of averages. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
If I just need one of them to turn out decent and take care of me when I'm old and crippled. So
Yeah.
surely I got a chance.
but and that's kind of like where like I have hope is like, a lot of older kids, like once they do become teenagers, or maybe they start to get curious about like what they should or shouldn't eat, like it's always like this all or nothing mentality.
Mm,
And like that's at least one thing that we haven't seen pop up yet. He's about to turn 6, and he's like he understands the importance of protein, especially like eating protein first or earlier in the day. Like he understands that like his tummy will hurt and he'll have a sugar crash if he doesn't eat enough real subsistent food.
yep. Yep.
But at the same time, like there's no holding back. Like we don't say you can't have ice cream or you can't have
Yeah.
candy or you
Yeah.
can't have treats. Like there's balance in all of it. But he understands that like if he wants to feel good, he needs to move his body. Like if he's down in a mood or something, or like doesn't feel right, or like he's like, I need to go for a lap, and he'll just go outside and he'll take off running and he'll just go move, or he'll be like, I need to go work out, and he'll do push-ups or something. And so like he understands that moving his body does make him feel better, and he understands that prioritizing protein is going to help him in the long run. And man, he has no trouble sleeping. That kid, he'll put himself to bed at 8 o'clock. Like,
That's awesome.
there's no fight there. But
That's awesome.
But yeah, I think there is hope, maybe. If not, maybe I just need to have more kids and populate the earth. I don't know.
Yeah, have more kids to populate the earth. Nothing like
neither of
listening
you
to you
need to
talk
do
about
that.
your parenting that makes me feel horrible about my parenting. So thanks for that. That's great. We've got some stuff to work on over here. I mean, my kids talk about protein and carbs and all that kind of stuff all the time, but they dang sure ain't like oh, I got to eat my protein before a popsicle. Pawpaw gives me a popsicle, I'm gonna eat 7 of them right now.
Yeah.
Don't care.
Yeah.
They're,
Oh well, I think Charlie, on the other hand, is going to be a completely different story. She's not going to turn down no ice cream,
dude.
No.
Dude, we went to a church picnic the other day, and I'm standing 30 feet away from the tent where the food is, and there's a cooler there with scissors on a string, and the cooler is filled with popsicles. And I'm watching Cutler, which means I'm kind of watching Cutler. And so he takes off. He saw earlier when his brother and sister were at the cooler where the popsicles are. So he just takes off by himself, and he's going to the popsicle cooler. And there's some people I don't know that are sitting kind of 5 or 6 feet from the popsicle cooler, and I'm watching this whole thing take off. And he goes over and he struggles to get the lid up. He lifts the lid up, grabs you a popsicle out, shuts the lid, and then he looks around. And I intentionally didn't make eye contact with him, so he didn't know that I was looking. And then he just strolls over to these strangers. And he holds it. The guy gets up and cuts the popsicle, gives it to him, and he comes running back over to me. He eats the popsicle, and then 2 minutes later, walks back over, flips the cooler over. I'm not exaggerating, 4 or 5 popsicles. And I just kept watching.
Did he ask the same guy every time to cut it?
Oh yeah, and I'm sure those people didn't know where I was. I'm sure they were like, "Where's this kid's dad?" And they just kept feeding him popsicles. I'm like, this is great. I don't have to do any parenting. But anyway, it was pretty funny. Oh, they get it figured out where the treats are. But
oh yeah,
anyway,
they're
wait till
way
that story.
smarter than we give them credit
Yeah.
for.
Mhm. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Way
Yeah, they
smarter.
definitely are that. They are.
Dude, my nephew
are
the other
that.
day, he's a 6, and he's going through this does not listen, does not like to be has a hard problem with authority, bro. Does not like to be told what to do, right? And so the other day he's kind of being a little shit, and I'm not telling him what to do. I'm just asking him hey, will you go grab that real quick? And he just ignores me. I said, hey, what? Why are you it's so disrespectful, and it fires me. It makes me so mad, dude. It fires me up. But I'm like, why do you do that? He goes, I don't like being told what to do. So when people tell me what to do, I just do what I want. I was like, oh my God, you are in for it, bro. You are going to have it. You are going to have the roughest few years here, dude. I was like, I get it. 100%. If there's anyone that can relate, that's me, buddy. But that is not going to work at all. I was like, oh man. Yeah. Everyone wants to treat them oh, they're just kids. Those little effers know what they're doing.
They know. Oh yeah. Oh
They
yeah.
know.
They know.
That came out of his mouth, and I was just like, oh man, all right. Well, appreciate the honesty.
It's definitely not all sunshine and rainbows trying to raise kids. There's at least one thing that happens the one thing that my kids do per day that makes me
per day.
I can't wait till you have a bully.
Good for you. Yeah. We're on a 1 thing per hour schedule around here.
Yeah,
dude, you got 4 of them. I don't know how you're
constant.
quicker
It
than
is
that.
constant chaos over here, man. It is just wild, especially summertime and kids being out of school, and so they're home. And I tend to work a lot more in the summertime. Hey, Dad's working. Sorry, don't come in the garage. Anyway, no,
garage is 100 degrees. Logan's just in there baking.
Yeah, I'm baking in the sauna. I don't care. I don't have to parent. It's pretty. It is always There's always something going on for sure. But I mean, it's like also it's super rewarding, and everybody they see you. Yesterday, I took all three boys to the ball game because Conley had gymnastics. So Lacey took Conley, and I took the boys, and and like people I don't know, and they're like, "Oh, you got your hands full," which is the number one thing they say, or do you know how you got a bunch of kids, you know how to make those, right? Or anyway, like, oh my gosh, okay, got it. But it's like one of the common things that those old people always say
Yeah, you
is
guys got to get more original. Like, go up to them and say, "Oh man, they all turned out normal. That's surprising." Something like that.
that's exactly right. Yeah, that's exactly right. But they're always like, don't blink or something of that nature. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
they've all been through that phase.
Yeah.
And the majority of them would do just about anything to go back to it.
Oh yeah.
And that's the hardest thing to remember when the years are short and the days are long and you're raising toddlers and young kids. And it's like, man, it's hard, and it is always something, and it's so easy for me to wish it away and to be like, I can't wait till you can drive yourself to practice, or you can do. And it's like, man, um trying to savor the moment and make the time last is so important. And that's one of the reasons why I'm thankful for our situation right now, where I'm able to work from home, and Lacey's able to be home, and we're able to spend more than our average amount of the family's average amount of time together. But it's not easy.
No.
It is not easy for sure. Anyway, I don't know how we got onto this topic of, I think maybe it's just because Paul made me feel so guilty about my parenting, but
You feel better now?
A little bit. I'm sitting on a little bit. Yeah. Anyway.
You're doing
Hey, real
fine.
quick, how about Chase and Andrew leave OPA and have just been absolutely cleaning
On
house?
a tear, dude.
I was gonna say, it looks like they've just been freaking dominating. I saw
love
some
it.
rides. Yeah, I've been seeing their rides, and you shared Chase's ride the other
Dude,
day. He
that
freaking
was
knocked it out of the park, and
that ride right
super
there
ranked.
was like the epitome of what we teach at our schools, and that's you can only control your start. You can control in the buck and shoot having the best start possible, and everything after that is strictly reaction of what we've been practicing on the skill specific stuff, right?
Yep.
He started that bull great. There was a lot of things that happened during that ride that he had no control of. But what he had control of was doing the fundamentals to the best of his ability every time and making those moves, reacting to what that bull did every time. That he probably looked that bull up and had an idea of what it was going to do, quote unquote. It's gonna turn back to the left. Well, yeah, it did, but it almost rolled over with him, and then had a wicked rear up out of that, and he just did what his body was trained to do, and he controlled what he could control, and was, I don't know, 89.5 points. Should have been probably more than that, but he was. I saw he wins Sisters Oregon, and he's like 6 points higher than any other qualified bull ride, which is pretty dang cool when you start looking at that gap. Like, you dominated, right?
That's awesome.
And then Andrew went to Deadwood, and he's went 2 for 3 at the event there and made some rank bull rides. And it's so fun because we hear this from the coaches every time they come to a school. Damn, I'm glad I came because I'd forgotten how to do this. I forgot the basics. I haven't been thinking about the literal things that I need to. I've made it way too complicated. And so they got 4 days of just hammering it into themselves, like, keep it simple. This is what we do. Keep it simple. Teaching what they do. Then they go put it to use. Boom. And like Cody showed Chase a new way to slide up to his bull rope. And it was like, you could tell with Chase, it was like a light bulb moment. And for a guy like that, that's been riding that long, won the NFR average, and he's still having light bulb moments. Like, guys, you got to go and continue to master your craft. Just because you are in the PRCA and you made the circuit finals or whatever, made the NFR, dude, this guy, like, very well decorated bull rider, learned from another extremely one of the best ever to be bull rider, Cody Custer, but literally one little thing. And he's like, oh, no way. And he like, let me try that. Gets up there and like slides up. He's like, oh, dude, game changer. Like, this is it. I've been missing. But how have I not known this? It just proves that the ego thing with the schools is like, put that shit to the side, guys. If you want to get better, go invest in it. Go be around winners. Go learn the right way. Like, it pays off.
That's exactly it. It's a mindset. It's a mindset of humility. that
Mhm.
is willing to, we talk about it all the time in our industry, and it's not something you see very often in our industry, this
No.
mindset of humility, or being able to admit that we were wrong, or that we didn't know, or that we whatever. But it's the same thing, like in all of life, in all aspects, having that spirit of humility and being able to say, like, I don't know it all, right? And there's so many people that might they might say those words with their mouth, but they don't really believe it. They believe that they're the most talented person in the room, they're the best person in the room, they know more than everybody else in the room. And so being able to have that spirit of humility and say, hey, like, I still have things to grow in and learn in, and I'm confident in my abilities, but I'm more than willing to say I was wrong. Man, that's hard to come by. But the people that find that, right? Josh Frost is another example we use all the
Mhm.
time. Chase, Andrew, those guys are just going to keep climbing the ranks and only getting better as they age. They're doing what it takes physically, and they have the mindset, not this like mental toughness, which they probably do possess that, but they have this mindset of being able to grow and being
Yep.
able to learn, because they're willing to admit when they didn't know
That's
something, or that they learned
the
something new.
biggest thing. That is so
Yep.
important. You have to say that you were wrong. And you have to
Yep.
be able to deal with other people saying that you're wrong and knowing that what you're
Yep.
doing is the best thing that you can be doing. How many times do you think
Yep.
people have gone up to Josh or something like, hey, maybe you should try this, or you should do that, or come try that.
Yep.
Why are you doing their
Yep.
training? Like, it's probably happened multiple
Yep.
times, but he
Yeah.
knows what he's doing. He knows the results he's gotten from it. He knows the plan. He sticks to it. And he's
Yep.
done it consistently for years. You're seeing him
Yep.
dominate. You've been seeing him dominate for the last couple of years. Yeah, but he's been working on this. I've been training for 4 years. He's been working with Paige for
Yep.
4 years. Like, the
Yep.
guy has put tons of money of investments into himself. And
Yep.
like, it shows because he's
Yep.
consistently done that. Everyone
Yep.
falls short because they see it happening in a year. Did a bug just crawl across you?
Yeah,
Yes, it
what just
did.
happened?
I was like, what is
A
that?
fly just, a fly just flew right
Right?
across my camera.
Shoot
Don't
the
shoot your
camera.
computer. Don't do that. Don't shoot your camera. Don't shoot your camera. That's a horrible idea.
I would have loved that. Just
That's a
mid
horrible
convo.
idea.
Peppered with
I don't
salt.
know where they came from all of a sudden, but there's like 4 of them buzzing my head.
But sorry, I lost
Ugh.
track. Damn you, fly. Um,
Yeah.
People will do those things for 6 months or a year, and they see a little improvement, and then they stop doing it, and they think
Hmm.
that's it. Oh, that's it. Where then 6 months later, they're right back to where they were, or even lower than that, because now they're fighting their head, wondering what the hell's going on. You have to keep building. It's the same thing as like an injury. You have a little shoulder injury, and it consistently bugs you. You do the internal external rotation exercise. Again, that's a very simple example, but and it feels better. You stop doing those. 3 weeks later, it hurts again. You can't stop doing the internal external rotation. You have to do the maintenance. You have to continue to
Yeah.
maintain the thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't go away.
Yeah.
And we see that in our training a lot with
Yeah.
athletes. Like, I have the shoulder problem or knee problem or whatever. Cool. What happened? I had the surgery. All right. Did you do the rehab? Well, yes, rehab was great. All the pain went away. When did the pain come back? 4 months later. Did you continue to do those rehab exercises as your warm up or a cool down or anything? Absolutely not. Okay. That's 98%. I'm positive that is the reason why. We've just gotten weakness. It's gotten weak again, right? And a lot of pain and tightness and stuff. That's a good sign that we got some weakness going on. We got some imbalance going on. And again, that's not for all pain and soreness, but yeah, I just think that
Yep. No,
it's been on my mind a
I
lot, man.
completely agree.
It takes so long to do anything
Yeah.
great, and everyone thinks this happens so
Mhm.
quick because they see the guys like, for instance, like Cooper Cook or Western Timmerman, the bareback riding. These guys are young. They're what, I don't know exactly how old they might be 21, might be younger, but they kind of came out of nowhere, and all of a sudden they're making the finals at the qualifier or the extreme barebacks. They're in the top 15. They're like, Cooper Cook's like second in the world right now. Well, they just see this kid show up out of nowhere and riding good. Well, I've been watching Cooper Cook in the PRC for the last 3 years. Like, the dude's been putting in the work,
Mm.
and no one's seen that,
Yep.
right? They just see him all of a sudden. Oh, look, he's that. Now I see him on the big stage. It must have just happened. No, he's been grinding, getting after it. Same as Weston, same as all these guys. And their work ethic is a lot different than what it was when we were rodeoing. They're getting after it and working hard. And I think a lot of that is due to their role models, man. Seeing Casey, seeing Tilden, Caleb, all these guys that, and they're still rodeoing with Caleb and Bigelow and all RC. Like, those guys are behind the buck and shoot, serious about their job, getting warmed up. They have good examples to look at, which is cool.
Yep. Yep. It is really cool. The college finals are going on right now.
Yeah,
And
just started.
Weston made me think of that, because I think
Yeah. He's late.
he
He's
yeah,
tied for the
leading
lead.
average. Yeah. Yeah, it was.
There was like a
It's
four-way split the first round or something, and
yeah.
Darian
Yeah,
Well, it
Johnson was
was.
in there.
I want to say like 80.5 was first and eighth was like 79 or something like
Yeah,
that.
it
It
was a
was, or
good bareback.
81.5 maybe. There was a very, very tight split between the top 8 places, which I love to
Yeah.
see, because unfortunately so often it's not that way.
Mhm.
Where that one guy, Weston, say, draws that one horse
Well, that's the
that
part of it, right?
and yeah, they're never a bunch of points at the college finals. You could put 24 point spur ride and you'll win the round with 81.5. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
they love to not give points at the college finals. But with that being said, like, somebody always like takes off, and it's just great to see that there's some handy guys, and it's still relatively close even after, 2 head. I mean, today's the rest of the guys that haven't had 2 head yet will get 2 head today, or get their second
Then
one
they'll
today.
ride
And so
again
um
Wednesday.
yeah, then they'll all have a perf. They'll all be split between Wednesday night,
Mhm.
Thursday night, Friday night, and or
So,
two excuse me tonight, Wednesday
yeah,
night, Thursday night, and Friday night.
get
So
this.
it'll be interesting
So,
to see.
I have a client bareback riding. He gets a re-ride in the first round.
Mm,
They don't buck his re-ride until the end of the rodeo, meaning
yep.
they have
End of the
3
Oh,
section.
perfs.
sweet.
No,
Yep.
no, 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 no.
Yep.
He rode at
Yep.
11 a.m. and had to get on at 7
Yep.
p.m. for his re-ride.
Yep. Yep.
Why?
Yep.
Why did they do that?
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, a lot of times they don't even bring the re-rides over. They have such a
Oh,
limited
tight
pen space
space.
back there. They don't
That
even
makes
bring the
sense.
re-rides over because they keep them all at the fairgrounds. So they just bring over what's in the draw, and then they know that, like, hey, re-ride, they'll send somebody to go get the re-rides, and it's at the end of the day. It's
Oh
dumb,
wow.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, and
I
it's
didn't know they
I
did
mean, how
that.
do
I was
you
kind of like, huh?
you know
Like, say what?
yeah, it doesn't make any sense. That would be my best explanation, because the setup there is it is intensive, but there's just not a ton of space in that building,
Yeah.
and
No, it's a small
out
building
behind it and stuff.
for
So
sure.
yeah, it's a pretty
Uh,
small place. They've had rodeo there for forever, though. I saw like a Winston
yeah.
Salem tour or something like that from like the 80s, I think,
Yeah.
or something, and
Oh,
it was
it's
in that same building back in the day.
yeah, it's got a lot of history in that building. One
Yeah.
thing I wanted to say too is we probably all have a few guys at the college finals. And I'm not throwing any crap at them or anything, but I don't think I've had one athlete check in for their mobility session there, which is understandable. However, it goes back to that same line of stuff that we were talking about earlier. How bad do you really want it? And it goes back to his freaking reel he made yesterday. Like, beer
Yeah.
garden, mobility and recover. Everyone's going to the beer
Just
garden.
change it with
And yeah,
beacon or
yeah,
or
exactly.
mobility in bed.
Dude, and
Yeah.
you can do both. That's what I'm saying. That's
Yeah.
what I don't understand
Yeah.
here. We're not saying one or the other. Like, you're in college, you're at the college farms. Go have fun. Go experience it all. We've all been to the Beacon. It's a great time.
Yeah.
Like, we've all, dude, I'll tell you right now, I drank way
Sometimes
too
it's a
much of
good
that
time.
place. Yeah, like it
Yeah.
is what it is. You're in college. Go
Yeah.
experience it. But
Yeah.
there are
Yeah.
ways to take care of yourself. And you can still
Yeah.
do the
Mhm.
Yep.
things and be responsible and move forward and have fun. And you don't
Yep.
have to choose one or the other. It
Yep.
literally takes 10 minutes to recover
Yep.
from a round or a workout. It doesn't have to be this half-hour thing. Just be intentional about doing it and then go have your fun. But the
Yep.
difference is you're going to show up that next day, and all those guys that went and had fun and didn't do what you did are not going to be feeling as good as you. And you have the confidence in knowing that going into that next day.
Yep.
I'm already one step
Yep.
ahead of these fools.
Yep.
They got done. They packed their
Yep.
Eat
stuff.
your
They went to the
Exactly.
protein
bar.
before you have your popsicle.
Yeah. Take a note
Eat your
from
protein
Cannon.
before you have your popsicle. That's exactly right.
That's going to go
That's
on a
exactly
t-shirt.
right. The college finals is so front end loaded, though. Like, it's buck and horse riding or bull riding. You get one Sunday, and then you get one either Monday or Tuesday, and then you
Mm-hmm.
get your third one either Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, or Friday night. So that those first 3 days are a whirlwind. And I mean, I want to say that they start at 7 or 8 a.m. I mean, you're like
It's
nodding
early.
your
Yeah.
face at breakfast time,
Yeah.
so it's early. You're rocking and rolling first thing in the morning. It might be like 8 o'clock start, and then there's a 9 o'clock start, but the bareback riders, you're there at 7:30, 7:45, 8 o'clock getting ready. And so it's heavy. And that was the first year I went, no pacing. Like, it was like almost every night we were at the Beacon, or we were doing whatever, we were getting wild. The second year I went, I just waited till the end of the week. I waited till I'd gotten my at least my 2 done, and then maybe I had 2 days off before I rode in the perf. And so you just got to be smart about it. Like you said, you got to be smart. You got to pace yourself and think about, what do you really want? Like, what do you really want in the long term versus what do you really want now? You know what I'm
Mm.
saying?
You should
And
have done
in
this
order
like
to
2
get what
weeks
you want in
ago.
the long term,
All these guys
yeah,
are gonna
no joke.
listen and be
It's
like,
gonna
"Damn
come
it,
back.
where was this
There's gonna be
information while I was there?"
so many guys. So many guys are gonna be listening. Yeah, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, now you tell me. Thank you.
I did want to
Thank
shout
you.
out
Well,
DJ Darian Johnson and Sage Allen, both OPA students. Came to our first ever school, and they are, man, I think they're in the top 5 in the average, both of them right now. So pretty cool. Hunter
crushing it.
Green just came to our last school, and he went from knowing nothing about bareback riding to making the college finals in 1 year. So if that doesn't say something about how you start this, I don't know what else does. All right. That
Yep.
guy has taken everything he's learned and applied it, and he's spurring buckers. It's freaking cool.
Yep.
You
And
should
he's an
see it.
athlete.
He's
He
an
was in
athlete.
good shape when he
Yep.
started. You know what I'm saying? Like he worked out, you know, he wasn't 100% sure what to do, but was working out before he started and was in good shape. So that plays a huge role in his progression too. And now he's training with us and he's getting it dialed in. So that's awesome.
Yeah. It's awesome, man. And then not a client, but a big shout out to this dude. Wasey Shala is an absolute freak. That guy
He's just
is, I've been watching him, dude, for the last year and just watching him heat up, and he dominates the bull riding, the bareback riding. He is killing it at the college finals. Been watching him destroy it at the professional rodeos. Like, dude's going to be at the finals for sure, possibly in both events. Incredible talent, man. Big shout out to you. If you listen to the show, keep doing what you're doing, man. And if you need help training, let us know, because we about it. We about it. That's
Yep.
so cool. Well, that's fun, guys. I'm glad we jumped on here. And if you're listening and wondering what the hell the point of this was, we don't really know. We were just jumping on to have a conversation and chat about some things. And I got it.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah.
mission accomplished. You
I
didn't
at
even
least got
really
some
need
things
your
off
tin
my
hat.
chest.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Feel a lot better.
Therapy session.
Absolutely. Hey, have you still been taking your Power Pro CBD,
Dude,
Paul?
Mhm.
every night.
Logan,
Yep.
you're on yours now?
I
No, I
don't
want to
care
hear
about-
from
you
both
don't
of you
care about
because
me.
he's been
Whatever.
he noticed
No,
a change
whatever.
in his sleep the first day. So I want to know if it's continued. And I don't really care about you, Logan, so I don't tell us about yours. Are you continuing to see changes?
Yeah, I meant to look up my sleep before this podcast started, but now my phone's out of reach. So I can't give you the exact data that I've come up with, but yeah, I
And this
feel
is what you wanted to hear from this guy.
yeah, I
This is
feel
who you wanted to hear from.
I feel
Loser.
good. Recovery has been awesome. I've been using the warming cream too, like on my legs and stuff.
Like
on
prior
my
to a
calves.
workout or just recovery?
No, like yeah, before bed really.
Nice.
And it's really
Well, that's probably a
relaxing.
great time to do
Kind of
it.
feels like a little leg massage right before bed. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
But yeah,
Love
no, I'm a believer.
Hell yeah. Logan, what's your experience been like?
Same thing. I only use the warming lotion if I get a lot of times, like same thing as you talked about,
Neck.
like in your traps and your neck and
Mhm.
stuff. And so that's what I primarily use it on when I start to feel a little tight from podcasting and sitting like a freaking giraffe in this chair. I'll throw some on, but the what is the word I'm looking for? The drops,
Yeah.
dude. Those are game changing.
The tincture. Yeah.
And they're definitely, I that's something I've been taking every night before bed. I'm almost out. And it definitely makes a big difference in my recovery and my, sleep. Like it's been huge. But all those supplements, like when it comes to any kind of supplement, you get what you pay for. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of times, like I've looked at even before, we had talked with Casey and decided to try to collaborate some. Like I was like, man, I don't know if I can afford that, But it's like one of those things where now that I have it, I'm like, what an idiot. How can you afford not to?
You can't
You know
afford
what I'm saying? How can you afford not to? Like the steps that it saves me in just my recovery alone is huge. And so I think it's well worth the money.
Absolutely.
It is a great product.
You can check them out at pwrpro.com. Our discount code Champion Living Fitness. Oh crap! Now I'm messing it up. What is it, Tyler?
I don't know why I thought that was so funny. Go ahead.
Champion Living. Okay. Champion. Yeah, one word.
Thanks,
It's going to
Stevie.
save
we
you 20%.
did that on purpose. So that
Yeah.
everything was
Let me
the
get Tyler in
same.
here. Well, it was the same, and then Beastmaster changed it, and now I'd second
Yeah.
guess everything I say now on discount codes. Champion Living though will save you 20% on all your Power Pro products. So, guys, that's a good chunk. Like you're not just saving a couple bucks here; you're saving on the Spectrum. It's a $130 bottle of CBD, which it's a big bottle, but what 20%? You're probably saving $20 off that. Like it's a good
Yep.
chunk. And then the lotion is only $40 and goes a long way. Like I've been using the same jar for the last 2 months and I'm not even halfway through it.
Yeah.
It goes a long way.
Yeah.
You don't have to use a lot.
Yeah, you gotta use a don't use a
A,
lot.
Yeah, if
a
you
little goes a long
Dude.
way on that stuff.
Dude,
Yeah,
even
yeah,
when you
yeah.
grab it the first time, look at it and be like, all right, I'm gonna try half of that, and then like rub it
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
That's what I like about it is it soaks in.
Put it on
good.
your finger, wipe it off your finger, and
Do
Go
not
wash
touch
your
anything
hands.
else.
Do not
Yes.
just
And then
wipe
wash
your
it.
hand off. Do not
No.
just wipe your hand off. Go
No.
wash your hands
If
because
you're a
it
nail
never
biter, you'll
fails. Your
figure it
nose
out real
itches or
quick.
your yeah. Your
Yeah, no,
eye itches, and next thing you
Yeah.
know, you're blind. So good job. I'm just kidding. It won't make you blind, but you're gonna wish you were
You'll-
blind there for a
yeah,
second because I'm
yeah.
telling you, I've got it in your you've got it in my eye before, and it
I feel like this is going the wrong direction. It's not a good endorsement.
it's a great product that is very potent.
Dude, that's
Don't
like
buy it.
any
Yeah.
cream like that. Like everyone's been there. You put Icy
Yeah.
Hot, you put Tiger Balm on something. Like I put it on my groins before hot summer rodeo. Yeah, didn't think about the sweat action that was going to happen, and all of a sudden I am on fire everywhere I don't want to be, and it just happens.
I got
But
guys that do that on their low back. They'll
Yeah.
put some on their low back before a perf, and then
straight
it
down
just
the crack.
trickles.
Not
and you're
good.
Like,
Yeah.
bad idea, big
Yeah,
dog.
I messed
Bad
up.
idea.
No, but it's great. It works awesome. We use it all the time. I'm a daily user of Power Pro. The product was formulated for rodeo athletes, and because of what rodeo athletes go through on a daily basis, and it's designed by Casey Field. So, guy who has done everything in rodeo and also been through a lot of the injuries that rodeo has to offer and had to recover from that, and still wants to be back at the best level he can be for his business, for his family, and Power Pro CBD is a huge part of that. And so, like we just said, we're big believers. Check it out, pwrpro.com. Use our discount code Champion Living, all one word, going to save you 20% at discount. Guys, until next time, we'll catch you later. Hey guys, we got some exciting news for you. If you're listening to this, we know that you're committed to upping your game in the arena. And we're teaming up with the Rodeo Now app to help you do just that. The Rodeo Now app allows you to record, upload, and catalog your rides and runs, review your performances in slow motion, and our favorite feature, if you're not familiar with your stock draw, you can search your animal by name to get all the intel you need to make your next ride a winning one. Join the rodeo revolution today and download the Rodeo Now app for free. It's available in the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. If you want to learn more about our coaches and program options, make sure to swing over to our website at www.championlivingfitness.com. You can fill out the Become an Athlete form to set up your free consultation and have all your questions answered by a coach.